right, well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the February 14, 2023 Hempstead Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Supervisor Clavin.
I am here.
Councilman Carini.
Here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Cruz. Here. Councilwoman Miller. Here. And Councilman Muscarelli.
Yeah. I'm now going to ask Councilman Carini to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Place your hand over your heart. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the public hearing?
Yes, we have the redistricting of the town of Hempstead's councilmanic districts to be codified as an amendment of Chapter 7A of the Hempstead Town Code. And as a reminder, this is also a continuation from the February 7th, 2023 meeting.
Madam Attorney, can you go ahead, sir?
Yes, Supervisor, with your permission, I will remind the public that this is a continuation of the public hearing which began on February 7, 2023. It is one continuous public hearing, so in accord with Town Board Rule 7A3, and just as we do at the town's budget hearing, each participant can only speak once. If you spoke on February 7th, then your comments are part of the record and you cannot speak again today. Again, it is one public hearing, so a speaker cannot make comments twice.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple of slips in here. I'm going to start with Stephen Evans.
Yep. Ready?
Yeah, can you go to the back and give your name and address for the record? That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Steve Edmondson, 80 Atlantic Avenue, inside New York. They lost the mic already?
You know, you're good.
I fell out of the folder. I don't know how you're going to vote on these maps when you don't even have a full town board meeting because we're missing a councilman for our area in Oceanside. So I don't know how you can vote on the maps when we're missing a council person. And when is the town board going to appoint somebody or we're going to elect somebody for that? And I also want to say congratulations now Senior Supervisor Boothby.
Wait. What's your title? He said Senior Supervisor.
Deputy Supervisor. I remember we had a presiding supervisor in the town and then you did away with that position.
Speaking of our radio,
Welcome. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't named anything after the other council person that was here. It was the first African American.
Curtis Fisher.
Yes, Curtis.
No, we did. We named a marina after him.
A marina?
Yeah, down in Point Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We did that like 7 or 8 years ago. And Angie Cullen, too. She was the first woman town board member to receive her taxes.
But I don't know how you're going to vote on these maps, and nobody's going to be happy, and you know that. And the problem is, on both sides of the aisle, we actually had more people come out in the last election, because I worked the polls, at the Board of Elections, on both sides of the aisle. They start paying us on time. Nobody's going to be happy, and the ones that come out to vote are going to settle who gets elected and who doesn't. So, that's the way it's going to be.
Thanks, Stephen. Next, I have Terry Dane. Good evening. If you give your name and address for the record, thanks.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Terry Bain, and I live at 461 McDermott Road in Rockville Center. I am against the proposed redistricting plan that the town of Hempstead has advanced. I am a retired immigration judge where I served for over 25 years at the U.S. Immigration Court. Voting rights are not my specific area of expertise, but the law is. The proposed council map boundaries split Baldwin, North Belmore, Uniondale, and West Hempstead into multiple districts. Baldwin, Uniondale, and West Hempstead have significant minority populations according to the latest U.S. Census. These maps, frankly, are gerrymandering, using the tactic of cracking, which according to the Brennan Center for Justice, splits groups of people with similar characteristics, such as party affiliation, across multiple districts. With their voting strength divided, these groups struggle to elect their preferred candidate in any of the districts. Thus, minority groups' voting strength is weakened by these maps, which split groups of people with similar characteristics. The New York State Constitution holds that districts shall not be drawn to discourage competition or for the purpose of favoring or disfavoring incumbents or any other particular candidates or parties. This amendment was voted in by New Yorkers all across the state. It looks to me like this proposal may violate the spirit as well as the letter of our state constitution. Thank you.
Patricia Melizio. Good evening, can you name and address for the record? Thank you.
Patricia Melizio. I reside in Merritt, New York, and I'm here to share that I believe these maps, which you've drawn up again, still do not represent equity. They still do not represent justice. They need to be changed. It is not fair. It needs to be changed. Thank you.
Next I have Calvin Kapeshi. Calvin? Next I have Brandon Gibbleman. Hey, you want to give your name and address for the record? Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Brandon Ginkleman, 757 Norman Drive in North Belmore. I was here in November, and one of the things that I had told the redistricting commission at the time was not to preserve the cores of existing districts as a higher priority than equal representation. And it seems like you've done exactly that. For the most part, have done exactly that. And for the life of me, what I would like to understand is why North Belmore, or at least a portion of North Belmore, is now being drawn into what will become District 5. My reading of this is that actually District 5 is the largest in terms of population that's being proposed. So surely that section would be. So I would like an explanation for that. As I said at the time as well, there are higher priorities, such as what's being done to Uniondale and in other minority communities. But this, you have to go back to the drawing board. This is unacceptable. This is totally unacceptable. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Supervisor, just to comment on your North Belmore question, there are 60 hamlets and incorporated villages in the town of Hempstead. 56 of them are, in fact, kept together by this map. A portion of North Belmore was left out. I also want to comment, because it seems to be a theme, that Uniondale and Baldwin were split up. Well, we received a very well-written letter from the Legal Defense Fund, signed and authored by none other than Frederick Brewington. And he proposed two maps to the town. And in both instances, Mr. Brewington proposed maps, both, where Uniondale and Baldwin were split. So, your question with regard to districts and respecting them, one of the most important things was Deputy Supervisor Gooseby won a very historic court case many years ago. And the district was drawn, and this district keeps it intact. In fact, if you look at the maps that were proposed and are in existence with regard to the Assembly and the county legislature, This is the only one that keeps Hempstead whole. So we have endeavored to live up to both the federal and state requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Town Attorney. Next, I have Mary Ellen Green. Hey, how you doing? Good evening. Name and address for the record.
Of course. Mary Ellen Craig, 436 Locust Avenue, Uniondale. This Hempstead final map copies a horrendous mistake of the U.S. Constitution by stacking our minority population in one district. It has the effect of treating us as 3/5 citizens. You can vote to pass it, but know it will be challenged and not upheld. We urge you to do the right thing and adopt the Bluebird map, a fair and equitable recognition of our voting rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Sam. Thank you. Give me name and address for the record. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Heidi Saft, 116 Florence Avenue. I live on the border of Hempstead and Uniondale, and my family has owned a home on the Hempstead-Uniondale border since 1967. I'm also the vice president of the Nostrum Garden Civic Association in Uniondale. I am against the proposed redistricting for the following reason. Uniondale needs to be kept whole. This new map only includes south of Hempstead Turnpike with one little area north included. It should include Museum Road, which is in Uniondale, the area of the hub, which is in Uniondale, and many other locations nearby. As you know, there's been a fight for the longest time to remove East Garden City from the map, the census maps, and East Garden City was removed. But there are still those people who want somehow for that to be slipped back in again. And it is my opinion that the whole attitude about having Museum Road called Garden City, and the whole attitude about calling that area East Garden City is racist. Because for some reason, developers figure they can make more money by building, commercial properties, and they can make more money on the rents if the place is called Garden City or East Garden City instead of Uniondale, which is what that area is. So for those of you who are in powerful positions right now, it's your opportunity to right a wrong. It's unacceptable for areas that are actually Uniondale to be called Garden City, and we want Uniondale to be home. And it's an error that was made. It's racism. I don't care what anyone else wants to call it, but that's what it is. So make things right and put all of Uniondale into District 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Catherine DeSantis. Good evening, if you give me an address for the record, thank you.
My name is Catherine DeSantis. I live in Rockville Center. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Town of Hempstead Council regarding the proposed redistricting maps that will be used for the next 10 years. The materials distributed for the February 7 meeting laid out the Town Council's goals for the proposed map. These goals were defined as create districts that are fair, compliant with all applicable federal and state laws, that are compact, respectful of the communities of interest, and minimize cracking. I respect the efforts of the Town Council to acknowledge and define these 5 goals and the efforts that were made to achieve those goals. But the Council did not take into account data from the most recent census. According to the 2020 census, the Town of Hempstead's population is now 53% white. So, if the white population is now 53%, what is the non-white population? It's simple. 100 minus 53 is 47. So if the white population is 53%, the non-white population is 47%. And 47% of the 6 town council seats is 2.8 seats. 2.8 seats is closer to 3 seats than to 2 seats. How does that affect voting maps? It means that the town of Hempstead should have 3 voting districts that are minority-majority districts, not the 1 minority-majority district that is the current proposal from the town council. So, what you do, the town council do, you should carefully review the letter sent to you on January 9th from the Legal Defense Fund, Frederick Brewington, Randolph McLaughlin, and Latino Justice, PRLDEF. That letter defines alternative maps that satisfy the 5 goals you, the town council, set out for yourselves, and shows you how to create 2 minority-majority districts. Then you, the town council, should make some adjustments to your current proposal to define a map that is more fair, more compliant, more compact, more respectful of communities of interest, and has less cracking. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening.
Thank you very much. Next I have Ellen Smiley. Ellen Smiley, please. Okay. Janine Maynard? Janine Maynard? How you doing if you give your name and address for the record? Thanks.
Janine Maynard, 255 Perry Street, Hempstead, New York. I am, in full disclosure, I did speak last time.
Oh, okay. And if you spoke last time, it's continuation of the hearing. I appreciate you being straightforward on that. So that you've had the opportunity. So thank you very much.
We do try and do things fairly.
No, and by the way, thank you very much. Judy Cataldi? Nope. Nope. Mita Merida? How you doing? If you give me an address for the record, thank you.
Mita J. Merida, and in recognition and homage of Black History Month, for this particular occasion, I refuse to speak from the back of the room, just like Rosa Parks refused to sit in the back of the bus. Where does one begin? Where do you know that the fix is in? To have all of you sitting there, if folks don't already realize that, the fix is already going to be in and we're heading to court, let me be the first one to tell you, okay? So you might as well spread the word, like I said before, pack the lunch, Pepsi, popcorn, collect those bottles, because once again, the lawsuit and the ramifications are going to hit all of us. We've been here for months now trying to plead the case with regard to addressing the gerrymandering, the packing, the fracking, and the compacting that's taking place here. As was so eloquently said tonight and on the 7th, we're supposed to have 3 majority-minority districts, not the same old, no disrespect to anyone. We talk about laws and abiding by them and being fair and being just. We say a pledge of allegiance to a flag that for so many years has discriminated against people of color. And in this instance, in this moment in time, we are reinventing the same revisionist, segregationist history that has kept so many people behind. But I stand before you today on this hallowed ground in this special, shortest month of the year, and just so you know, Black history, whether governors decide it's not going to be taught, will still be taught to all of the children. The same way Hispanic, Asian, and indigenous people, their history will be taught. And if we're going to start here today, because we already know we're going to court, we already know you're all sitting there after you had your little powwow in the back. So you're going to make your decision. Our voices have not been heard all this time. It's not going to be anything different. But just know that people are watching. The room may not be packed today, but voter registration is on the rise, just so you know, Supervisor Clayton. And you have an honorary position here. According to state law, your deputy supervisor is a ceremonial position. It means non-voting, just so you know, just for clarity. So you can look down all you want to, write your little notes, continue to be disrespectful, but the people are watching. The election is coming, and unfortunately in town of Hempstead, scandals get you out faster. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next item, Robert Epstein. How you doing? If you could name and address for the record, thank you.
I'm Barbara Epstein, 142 Target Lane, South Quantum, New York. Good evening, Supervisor Clayton and members of the town board. I am Barbara Epstein, a member of the League of Women Voters of East Nassau. The League is a nonpartisan organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, influence public policy through education and advocacy. Here today advocating for a fair and transparent process in redistricting of the town's 6th councilmatic district that are going to affect us for the next 10 years. 10 years ago, the League proposed 2 minority-majority districts. Here we are today, we tested definitely 2 and possibly 3 majority-minority districts. 2010, the white and Hispanic population was 59.9%, and 2020, 50.7%. The Hispanic or Latino population went from 17.4% to 22%, and Black population went from 15.7% to 15.9%. Asian population from 5.1 to 7.5. The total minority population is over 45%, and you're only looking at 1 truly majority-minority district. District 3 is at a bare 51% minority population. The district should be contiguous, reasonably compact, and fairly representative of the identical communities of interest. Must adhere to the Federal and State Voting Rights Act and New York State municipal law. At the hearings, the Commission heard from the public, and at the Commission work session, they did not support the Republican map that was presented, but instead explained the concerns of the residents and submitted other maps for you to consider. You should not be dividing the village of Freeport, which goes against the municipal home rule law. Go back to the drawing board and create a more equitable map for the town. Listen to the people. By the way, when do you plan to vote on the map? Supervisor Craven?
Listen, and just so you know, John, Freeport, was that at all?
Freeport is all.
Freeport's in one, Freeport's not split.
Of the 56 hamlets or villages, only 4 have been split out. North Belmore, Baldwin End, and Uniondale, which I might add, as proposed by Mr. Brewington and the Legal Defense Fund, which was mentioned, both of his maps split up those 2 main hamlets of the town.
What I'm,
Why didn't you
this
vote
was,
that then?
the point is, villages per municipal home rule law should be kept intact.
Yeah, I know, but you said Freeport was split up, but it's not.
It's split into more than 1 district.
No, it's not.
Well, according to the map that I...
Okay, but that was taken into account, so I'm just saying, it's not factually correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I will look at it. My question to you is, when do you plan, as a town board, to vote on the map?
I can't answer, we have a lot of speakers, so we'll see how it goes.
Did you let us know this evening before we finish?
We'll see how it goes.
He has no intention of
Thanks,
voting.
Mr. Next, I have Joyce Snow.
Need a process server?
How you doing? If you can name and address for the record, thank you.
My name is Joyce Stowe, 1978, Byron Avenue, Elmont, New York.
I'm Tammy Williams. I'm going to speak for Miss Joyce because her throat hurts, but I do have a copy for the attorney.
Is that a prepared statement from her?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we'll take that, okay.
Okay. Thank you. So Ms. Joyce is the president of Elmont Tudor Manor Civic Association. Ms. Stowe raised her family in South Florida Park for 20 years and resides in Elmont community where she has planted her roots for over 30 years. Ms. Joyce is speaking tonight on behalf of the Alden Manor Civic Association representing 426 homes, Parkhurst Civic Association representing 900 homes, Tudor Manor representing 800 homes, Locustwood Gotham Civic Association representing over 1,400 homes. As the civic leaders in Elmont, we are concerned that the proposed maps for Hempstead Town Council District 2 and 3 presented by the town of Hempstead Temporary Redistricting Commission on February 7, 2023 violates the Voting Rights Act and the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act of New York. We are especially concerned that the proposed District 2 and 3 maps continue to crack Elmont's voting population by separating the homes and people represented by Alden Manor and Tudor Manor Civic Associations into District 3 by renaming the geographic area of our community North Valley Stream. For illustration, all the homes south of Dutch Broadway, from the Cross Island Parkway to the Southern State Parkway, represents Alden Manor and Tudor Manor Civic Association, continue to be cracked and placed in District 3. Our communities of interest continue to suffer from the impact of gerrymandering and what the lack of representation means. We are denied an equal opportunity to participate in the political process and elect candidates of our choice. For example, the town of Hempstead and our 2 council members from District 2 and 3 were nowhere to be found during the local zoning override of Belmont Park. Value our one person, one vote, we all matter and everyone deserves to be heard. Problem, the current process of gerrymandering limits the political voice of our community. Solution, a nonpartisan, independent, citizen-led redistricting commission which will exclude elected officials from drawing district maps. Therefore, we urge the board to vote against the proposed maps for District 2 and 3, which continues the trend of gerrymandering by previously implemented map. Moreover, the board's proposed plan does not unify all of Elmont in District 2 to reflect public comment from members of our community. We urge the commission to present a new proposal that unifies the Elmont Union-Free School District communities, which include, though not limited to the incorporated village of South Florida Park and Valley Stream and the hamlets of Elmont, North Valley.
Thank you, Ms. Williams, and I know I got the letter and we made that part of the record as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's always nice to see you.
Oh, yeah.
Next, I have John Asmund.
Bear with me a minute. Two prosthetic hips
How you doing? If you give me a name and address for the record, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. My name is John Asmalik. I reside at 261 Montgomery Avenue, Oceanside, New York, 11572. And I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Edmondson had said earlier about having a vote when there's one legislative member missing. Considering this is a 10-year proposal that won't be addressed till 1932, which is a long way away. Excuse me, 2032. I think with that said, we should be able to wait until we have a full forum in order to cast this important vote. I'm not quite certain whether or not the presiding supervisor or the supervisor, Mr. Clavin, would then, if it was a 3-3 break, would have the deciding vote. But certainly at 3-2, it kind of like stacks the deck one way or the other and takes a lot of heat off of him to make a decision. Other than that, thank you for the, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next I have Charlene Thompson. How you doing? If you made any matters for the record.
Good evening, Charlene Thompson. I reside in Baldwin. Been a resident of the town of Hempstead for 56 years. I debated on whether I was going to speak at all tonight, but I felt that it warrants just a few comments. As the gentleman before me just said, this process only happens every 10 years. I'm a mother of 3. My oldest daughter is 24. She'll be 34. My son will be 21. Then he'll be 31. My youngest is 19. She'll be 29. Someone asked me, what will Long Island look like in 10 years from now? A lot of that will depend on what we decide today, and time is not on our side. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge some things that we've seen evolve over this process. I'd like to thank you for shifting Baldwin. I'm a resident of Baldwin, so I appreciate the fact that you took us from being split up into 3 districts, and now, for the most part, we're in 2 districts. I'd also like to acknowledge the fact that you took the Coliseum project and placed it back in District 1. I think that is important, and I appreciate that fact. I do want to talk about the importance of government's role in relation to the real estate industry and developers industry, because the power that is displayed and integrated in the process of development will matter. And so however these maps come out, however the districts are divided, I would encourage you all to keep an eye on what happens at the Coliseum project and District 5, all along those commercial areas, because it will impact all of us. And 10 years from now, that will be the key difference in how Long Island is developed. These are critical projects that will have lasting impacts for generations. And just to prove my point, one of the books that I like to study, I'm going to show up this tome, Power Broker, Robert Moses, right? We know how Robert Moses assembled so much power under one man, head of Tunnel and Bridges Authority, Parks Authority, beaches. He reshaped Long Island, and we'll see the impacts for hundreds of years because he divided us by design to keep the less affluent people off Long Island's beaches. He made the tunnels and bridges a little bit lower, right? And so we have to be mindful of those kinds of decisions that are put in the hands of decision makers and developers and real estate industry, and along with government support. He had government positions making these decisions. And so it'll be crucial for us to keep an eye on the ball as we come into developing some prime real estate and how it will impact our future going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much. Kimberly Malone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kimberly Malone. I'm from Baldwin, New York. I've been a resident of Baldwin for nearly 20 years. I am also the president of the Baldwin Civic Association, and I'd like to just represent once again our community's desire to remain whole as one Baldwin in this district and redistricting process. Okay? I will tell you, thank you, that Baldwin for the last decade, as Ms. Thompson alluded to, has been divided up into 3 districts. We do appreciate the fact that it's being reduced, but we demand that it become 1 district. What we don't understand is why you can have 56 areas that are allowed to remain whole, and then you have 4 specific hamlets, Baldwin included, that require to be broken up. We do not believe that this is necessary, and nor do we want it. As you I am sure know, we are working on the process, and we are united in our drive to improve our downtown and our business districts, to invest in our parks and in our public spaces, to make our roadways safer for all users, and to create a cohesive community that does not leave out any of our neighbors. And with that in mind, we need a single town council, we need a single representative that we can go to when things need to be done, and that we can hold accountable when things need to be held accountable for. So once again, I request, and I strongly ask that you keep Baldwin whole. And just for the record, we are united with others who resist the idea of cracking our communities and dividing the vote, no matter what the reason is. Thank you.
I don't have any other slips from anybody. Is there anybody that did not sign in, that did not speak previously, that wishes to be heard? Okay. You didn't speak last time?
I did not.
Go on, just go back and give your name and address. Thanks.
Good evening, I'm Dan Oppenheimer. I'm a resident of the village of Hempstead. I don't know if it is possible to draw perfect districts. Certainly it's possible to draw equitable, fair districts. But I do know that if you're a registered voter in any of these districts and you're not allowed to vote due to the fact that the council person is appointed, you are bypassing the electoral system that the districts are supposed to address. And this is a 2-part problem. Yes, we have a history of gerrymandering. The populations of the individual districts were way out of whack. I see that your proposed map does address the population variation. I think that's a good thing. But sitting on the board right now, Dorothy Gooseby has been elected every time she has run since 1999, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Thomas Muscarella was appointed in 2019, elected later in 2019. Melissa Miller appointed 2022. Vacant was Anthony Desposito. He was elected in 2021. Chris Carini elected 2019. Dennis Dunn appointed June 2017, elected later in 2021. This has nothing to do with voting representation when you have a history year in and year out of appointing rather than allowing for votes. And now, I have emailed you a number of times without response as of yet as to whether you plan to hold a special election for the district, for the 4th district, or whether you plan to appoint someone. So I would ask you tonight if you're prepared to announce whether there will be a special election or an appointment for District 4.
Mr. Oppenheimer, we'll comply with the law.
What's that?
We'll comply with the law.
You'll comply with the law?
Yeah.
Which law will you comply with? What's that?
County.
And which specifically?
The Town Hempstead law.
What's that?
Town Hempstead law, yeah.
What part of the law are you complying with?
Mr. Oppenheimer, I'm not going to get details. There's something in redistricting where we're just going to answer the question, I give you the answer, we're going to comply with the law. So. It's not on the agenda this time, so.
I feel that this is part and parcel of redistricting when the majority, or at least a substantial minority of the districts, do not get the chance to vote, period.
Is there anybody that did not speak, that did not sign in, that wishes to be heard? Okay.
You want to write me in? I'll take the job.
It's a done deal. Done deal.
All right.
I get along with everybody.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? All right, if not, may I have a motion?
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution.
A second?
Second. Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Boothby?
Aye.
Councilman Miller?
Aye.
Councilman Mascarella?
Aye. That's nice, ladies and gentlemen. It is nice. Second, clerk, may I please have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Adjourn.
Can I get a second on that? Second.
Supervisor Clayton?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Supervisor Boothby?
She said aye.
Thank you. Councilwoman Miller?
Happy
Councilman Mascarella?
Yes. All right, thank you all very much. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Take care.
When can we see you in court? See you tomorrow? What relative is going in spot 4? Clean up the resume after the Santos scandal? When can we see you in court? Can we see you tomorrow?
I don't know. Did they paste the map or no?
What? They voted them out, yeah. I knew that was going to happen. This what's the one? Expect anything else? No discussion.
Boss, not up for mayor.